You did not pause on this message by accident. Something slowed you down before your logic caught up. A quiet pull, a sense that if you skipped this, you might miss something important, not dramatic, not loud, but necessary. This is not about fear. This is about timing. There are moments when heaven interrupts not because you are failing, but because you are about to push forward while carrying unnecessary weight. You have been strong for a long time, strong in ways people don't see. You handle pressure without complaining. You adapt, you adjust, you keep moving. But lately, that strength has felt expensive. You wake up already tired, not physically exhausted, but mentally stretched, like every decision requires more effort than it should. Small problems feel heavier. Silence feels louder. And even when things are fine, peace feels distant. This is the kind of season where people smile at work but feel hollow inside. You might be doing well on paper, meeting deadlines, paying bills, showing up for family, but inside, you wonder how long you can keep functioning at this pace. Or maybe you're in the opposite position. Finances are tight. Job security feels unstable, and every unexpected expense spikes anxiety. You pray, but your prayers feel shorter. Not because you don't believe, because you're tired of explaining pain God already knows. Here is the truth you need to hear. Early pressure does not mean abandonment. Struggle does not mean you missed God. Difficulty does not cancel calling. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 33, "In this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world." Notice the honesty. Jesus does not promise an easy path. He does not deny the trouble. He acknowledges it clearly. Work stress, family tension, financial uncertainty, emotional fatigue, all included. But then he shifts the focus not to escape, but to authority. I have overcome the world, meaning the pressure you feel is real, but it is not final. This is where many people misunderstand peace. Peace is not the absence of trouble. Peace is stability inside trouble. And right now, God is not removing every challenge. You're being strengthened to stand without losing yourself. Think about your daily routine. You check your phone first thing in the morning. Messages, news, reminders, responsibilities. Before you even sit up, your nervous system is already activated. By the time you get to work or start your day, you're reacting instead of leading. Over time, this trains your spirit to live in defense mode. But today, something shifts. Not externally yet, but internally. You begin to realize you don't have to carry tomorrow before it arrives. In family dynamics, you might be the one expected to stay calm, to mediate, to absorb tension so others can remain comfortable. You love them, but the cost has been silence. Your needs get postponed. Your emotions get managed instead of expressed. God sees that, and He is not asking you to become harder. He is inviting you to become anchored. This section is not a warning. It is a reset. Because overcoming does not always look like winning outwardly. Sometimes it looks like not breaking inwardly. Here is a grounded picture of hope. You begin responding instead of reacting. At work, when pressure rises, you notice yourself breathing instead of spiraling. In finances, even if numbers haven't changed yet, panic loosens its grip. In relationships, you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. These are small shifts, but they are signs of authority returning. Let me ask you directly. What trouble has been convincing you that peace is no longer available to you? Jesus didn't say trouble would disappear. He said you don't face it alone, and more importantly, it does not outrank Him. Overcoming is already decided. You are learning how to live from that decision, not fight for it. This is the moment where you stop measuring your life by how calm everything looks and start measuring it by how steady you remain. That steadiness is growing, even if you don't fully feel it yet. If this message resonates, take one intentional step. Like the video, share it with someone carrying quiet pressure. Comment 33 as a declaration that you choose peace over panic, and subscribe to stay connected. Just once. No pressure, only alignment. The interruption has begun. The wait will not define you, and this season will not consume you. You are not late. You are not behind. What feels delayed is actually being aligned. God is not rushing your next step because rushing would break what He is building in you. The pause is not punishment, it is precision, ensuring you arrive whole, not just successful. There will come a moment soon when something clicks. A conversation, an opportunity, a quiet inner decision. It won't look dramatic, but it will feel solid. You'll notice less confusion, fewer emotional swings, and a growing confidence that you don't need to force what God is already arranging. You will still face pressure, but it won't own you. The same circumstances that once drained you will now reveal your growth. You'll recognize strength not in loud victories, but in calm consistency, showing up without losing yourself, choosing wisdom over impulse, peace over proving. Carry this forward with you today. Walk slower if needed. Say no without guilt. Rest without apology. This is how overcoming begins, not with escape, but with endurance anchored in truth. You are steadier than you think, and you are being prepared for more. You have wondered quietly and often why life demanded so much from you while others seemed to move forward with ease. You watched people with less depth carry lighter loads, while you were given responsibility early, loss early, awareness early. This section answers that question not with flattery, but with truth. The weight you've been carrying was never random. It was formative. You learned endurance before you learned comfort. You learned discernment before you learned celebration. While others were allowed to stay naive, you were forced to see reality clearly. Disappointment sharpened you. Delay stretched you. Silence trained you. None of it felt fair at the time. Much of it felt lonely, but it built something rare inside you: capacity. Capacity is not talent. It's not charisma. It's the ability to hold pressure without collapsing, to see complexity without losing direction, to remain human without becoming bitter. And capacity is always expensive. That is why not everyone has it. Think about your work life. You're often the one trusted with more, even when your title doesn't reflect it. People come to you when things are complicated, when deadlines are tight, when emotions run high. You may not always be recognized, but you are relied upon. That didn't happen by accident. Pressure trained you to think clearly when others panic. Or consider your finances. You may have gone through seasons of scarcity that forced discipline, wisdom, and restraint. While others learned how to spend, you learned how to steward. While others were rescued quickly, you had to stretch, plan, and trust through uncertainty. That kind of financial pressure doesn't just test faith, it builds it. In family dynamics, you were often the one who grew up first, emotionally, spiritually, sometimes practically. You learned to read rooms. You learned when to speak and when silence was safer. You learned how to carry other people's emotions while managing your own. That level of emotional intelligence usually comes from necessity, not comfort. None of this means God enjoyed watching you struggle. It means He saw what you could become and refused to undertrain you. The problem is, when you've carried weight for too long, you can start to believe the weight defines you. You begin to see yourself primarily as the strong one, the responsible one, the one who can handle it, and strength, when misunderstood, turns into isolation. People assume you don't need help. You assume you shouldn't ask. But strength was never meant to erase your humanity. This is where perspective shifts. Your suffering was not a sign of distance from God. It was proximity to purpose. Not every hardship was divinely sent, but none of it was wasted. God has a way of repurposing even the unnecessary pain into necessary wisdom. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10. For you, God tested us. You refined us like silver. Refining is intentional. Silver is heated not to destroy it, but to remove what weakens it. The heat reveals impurities, but it also increases value. What you endured exposed fears, limitations, and false dependencies, but it also revealed resilience, clarity, and depth you didn't know you had. Here is the quieter truth: some people will never understand you because they were not refined in the same fire. They interpret your seriousness as distance, your discernment as judgment, your boundaries as coldness. But boundaries are not walls. They are wisdom learned through cost. This is why shallow environments exhaust you. You crave meaning. You crave honesty. You crave conversations that go somewhere. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You have lived too much life to pretend. Yet even now, there is a danger. When you normalize carrying weight, you can forget that seasons change. What was required of you before may not be required of you now. God does not refine forever. There comes a moment when the silver is removed from the fire. This section is not here to glorify suffering. It's here to contextualize it so you can release what no longer belongs to you. Here is a real-life moment where this becomes practical. Imagine a work conversation where you would normally overextend, say yes automatically. Absorb extra responsibility without question. This time, you pause. You respond thoughtfully. You don't rush to prove your value. That pause is evidence of growth. Or picture a family interaction where guilt once controlled your decisions. You felt responsible for everyone's happiness. Now, you still care, but you no longer sacrifice your peace to maintain appearances. That shift is not selfishness. It is maturity, even spiritually. You may notice your prayers changing. Less begging, more listening, less explaining, more trusting. That's what refinement produces, not louder faith, but steadier faith. Let me ask you something you may have avoided. What if the hardest seasons of your life were not delays, but deposits? Deposits of wisdom, deposits of endurance, deposits of discernment. And now, you are approaching a season where those deposits are meant to be drawn from, not hoarded. The weight you carried shaped you, but it does not own you. You are allowed to lay it down when God says the training is complete, and that moment is closer than you think. You are not meant to remain in survival mode. What strengthened you yesterday is now making room for tomorrow. As you release the weight, you'll notice clarity returning, decisions simplifying, and confidence rising, not forced, but natural, grounded, and quietly unshakable. There is a reason tension has followed you even when you were not looking for trouble. You did not provoke it. You did not announce yourself. You simply showed up as you are, and something reacted. This section is where the confusion finally settles. Because what you've been sensing is not imagination, and it is not coincidence. Your life has never been neutral territory. You carry a presence that shifts rooms without trying. Not because you dominate conversations, but because your awareness is sharp. You see patterns early. You notice inconsistencies. You sense when something is off long before it becomes obvious. And that kind of clarity quietly disrupts environments built on avoidance, denial, or compromise. This explains why resistance has appeared at unexpected times. Promotions that stalled without explanation. Projects that suddenly faced opposition. Relationships that changed once you stopped overgiving. You may have blamed yourself, wondering if you were too intense, too quiet, too different. But the truth is simpler and deeper. You were never meant to blend in. At work, you may have experienced this as subtle pushback. You did your job well, yet your ideas were questioned more than others. You spoke calmly, yet your tone was labeled difficult. You stayed ethical, yet shortcuts were rewarded elsewhere. This kind of friction is disorienting when you don't understand its source. It makes you second-guess your instincts. In friendships, you may have felt it when you stopped enabling chaos, when you no longer rescued, over-explained, or absorbed emotional volatility. Suddenly, the dynamic shifted, distance formed. Not because you became unkind, but because you became clear. In family systems, this tension can feel even heavier. You may be the one breaking generational habits, refusing to normalize emotional neglect, financial irresponsibility, or silence around pain. That kind of change is threatening to systems that survive by staying the same. Resistance is predictable but still painful. Here is the key realization of this section: not all opposition is personal, and not all conflict is correction. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." This reframes everything. Your struggle is not with people even when people are involved. It is not with managers, relatives, critics, or competitors. Those are surface expressions. The real tension operates at the level of influence, values, and authority. When your life aligns more closely with truth, it naturally challenges systems built on distortion. This does not mean you see enemies everywhere. Maturity rejects paranoia, but maturity also rejects naivety. You are learning discernment, the ability to distinguish between human imperfection and deeper resistance. Here is where fear tries to enter quietly. Fear says, tone it down. Fear says, stay small. Fear says it's safer to be agreeable than aligned. And fear is convincing because it often sounds reasonable. It disguises itself as humility, patience, or wisdom. But the fruit of fear is always the same: shrinking. You've felt that temptation. To hold back ideas you know are right. To delay decisions you know are necessary. To stay silent when clarity would cost comfort. Each time, something inside you resisted, not loudly but firmly. That resistance is not rebellion, it is recognition. Consider a real moment. You're in a meeting. You see a flaw in the plan that others have missed. You hesitate. Your heart rate increases slightly. You consider letting it go, but then you speak, not aggressively, not defensively, just clearly. The room shifts. Some are relieved. Some are uncomfortable. But truth has entered. That moment matters more than you realize. Or picture a personal boundary you've been avoiding. A conversation you know is overdue. You've delayed it because you don't want conflict. But the cost of avoidance has been ongoing stress. When you finally speak, the outcome may not be perfect, but your internal pressure releases. That release is evidence of alignment. Being contested does not mean you are constantly under attack. It means your obedience carries weight, and weight creates friction. Here is the hope threaded through this section: friction does not mean failure. It means movement. growth rubs against resistance, and resistance reveals what is real. You are also protected. Opposition is not unlimited. Access is regulated. Not everything that wants to stop you is allowed to. Many delays you interpreted as setbacks were actually shields keeping you from stepping into environments before you were fully ready. You are learning when to engage and when to stay still, when to speak and when silence holds more authority. This balance is not learned through comfort. It is learned through pressure. Let me ask you directly. Where have you been shrinking not because you lacked conviction, but because you wanted to avoid tension? This is not condemnation, it is calibration. You are not called to fight everyone. Some battles dissolve when you stop explaining yourself. Some resistance fades when you remain consistent and calm. Authority does not argue, it stands. Now comes one intentional response, not repeated, not emotional, just precise. Comment this phrase below, I will not shrink. This is not defiance toward people. It is alignment within yourself. It means you choose clarity over comfort, steadiness over approval, obedience over fear. It means you stop negotiating with forces that were never meant to lead you. You are not becoming harsher. You are becoming clearer. You are not losing compassion. You are gaining backbone. You are not entering chaos. You are stepping into authority. The resistance you sensed was never a signal to retreat. It was confirmation that your life carries consequence. And now you are ready to carry it without shrinking. There is a line you were never meant to cross, and just as important, there is a distance you were never meant to test. This section is not about fear of punishment or anxiety over God's reaction. It is about wisdom, about maturity, about understanding that boundaries are not cages but coverings. When you truly grasp this, obedience stops feeling restrictive and starts feeling intelligent. Many people don't fall because they planned to rebel. They fall because they kept walking closer to the edge, telling themselves they would stop in time. They wanted to see how close they could get without consequence. But wisdom never asks. How far can I go? Wisdom asks. How far should I stay back so I remain whole? God's boundaries are never placed at the point of destruction. They are placed far earlier where protection still feels optional. That's why people misunderstand them. Boundaries often look unnecessary until the moment you realize how much they were saving you from. Let's make this practical. In everyday life, boundaries show up first in your schedule. You agree to one more task, one more meeting, one more responsibility. You tell yourself you'll rest later, but later never comes. The boundary was never burnout. The boundary was discernment. The safe distance is not collapsing and then repenting, it's learning to decline while you still have peace. Margin is not laziness. Margin is foresight. At work, boundaries often look quiet and uncelebrated. You choose not to exaggerate results. You refuse to join conversations that slowly erode integrity. You stop answering messages that invade rest hours. You don't wait until something feels wrong to correct course. You recognize the slope early. That distance you create is not weakness. It is leadership. Financially, boundaries are where temptation hides best. Spending to soothe stress, saying yes to opportunities that inflate ego but drain stability. Borrowing peace from the future to feel relief today. God's line is rarely at collapse, it's at discipline. The buffer is restraint. Planning, choosing sustainability over appearance. Relationships are where boundaries are most tested. Emotional closeness without accountability. Private conversations that bypass transparency. Repeated forgiveness without transformation. You don't protect trust by standing near betrayal. You protect it by staying far from compromise. Distance here is not coldness, it is respect for what matters. This section is about recognizing early signals, rationalizing instead of discerning, negotiating instead of deciding, feeling a subtle loss of peace but continuing anyway. Those moments are not neutral. They are invitations to step back, not press forward. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 7, "Do not put the Lord your God to the test." Testing God is not brave faith. It is disguised pride. Faith does not need to experiment with consequences to feel real. Faith trusts God enough to stay within the space he marked as safe. Here are grounded practices to live this out. First, identify your personal danger zones, not abstract ideas, specific patterns, certain environments, certain emotional states, certain people. You already know where clarity weakens. Wisdom names those places without shame. Second, establish a buffer before the boundary. The boundary is where damage begins. The buffer is where decisions are made. You don't wait until exhaustion to rest. You rest when pace accelerates. You don't wait until attraction deepens to pull back. You pull back when curiosity starts. Third, reduce access, not rely on willpower. Willpower collapses when tired. Structure protects when strength fades. Adjust routines. Change environments. Remove triggers. Holiness is preserved by distance, not proximity. Fourth, invite accountability without drama. One trusted voice. One place where truth is welcomed early. Accountability is protection with consent. Picture a simple moment. Late at night, your phone in your hand. Fatigue lowers discernment. The boundary is not collapse. The buffer is design a charger outside the room, a cutoff time, a ritual that signals rest. That is obedience in motion. Let me ask you directly, where have you been standing closer to the edge than wisdom requires? Telling yourself you'll pull back in time. God is not waiting to react to your mistakes. He is inviting you to walk wisely before mistakes demand reaction. When you respect boundaries early, life becomes lighter, anxiety loosens, focus sharpens. You stop living on spiritual adrenaline and begin living with spiritual stability. As this message settles, imagine it like a small lamp placed beside a narrow road at dusk. It does not force you to walk. It simply lights enough ground for the next step. If that light helped you see where the edge truly was, you may choose to tend it to press like as one might shield a flame from the wind. And if you know someone walking too close to a drop they haven't noticed yet, sometimes the kindest act is to share the light, passing it quietly so no one has to learn the hard way. If this path feels worth returning to, you may also subscribe the way a traveler chooses a familiar road not because it is dramatic, but because it has proven safe. Some choices are loud, others are quiet agreements with wisdom. And quiet agreements are often the ones that change everything. You will notice the change quietly at first. Decisions feel cleaner. Temptation loses urgency. Peace arrives sooner. This is how wisdom rewards obedience not with noise, but with steadiness. You walk lighter because you stopped testing edges and started trusting the path set before you. Before authority ever rose, it knelt. On the night before everything changed, Jesus did something no one expected. The room was tense. Power was in the air. Destiny was near. The disciples were still arguing silently about who among them was greatest, who deserved recognition, who would matter most when the kingdom finally arrived. And in that charged moment, Jesus stood up, removed his outer garment, wrapped a towel around his waist, poured water into a basin, and began to wash their feet. This was not symbolic theater. This was disruption. The king took the position of a servant. The teacher lowered himself beneath the students. The hands that shaped galaxies touched dirt, sweat, and dust. Authority bent down, as the gospel records in John chapter 13, verse 14. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. This is where many misunderstand power. We think authority looks like elevation, visibility, control. Jesus revealed something deeper true. Authority is secure enough to stoop. It does not fear being misunderstood. It does not protect ego. It serves without losing identity. This message is for you because you are in a season where humility is not weakness, it is preparation. In everyday life, this looks very different than religious language suggests. It shows up when you do excellent work without demanding credit, when you lead projects without needing applause, when you choose integrity over image, when you help quietly while others posture loudly. This is not invisibility, this is grounding. At work, you may be the one who keeps systems running while others take the spotlight. You catch mistakes before they become disasters. You support teammates who never publicly thank you. At times, you've wondered if this means you're overlooked. But what if it means you're trusted? In family life, humility looks like emotional intelligence. You listen instead of winning arguments. You absorb tension without passing it down. You apologize first when pride wants to be right. That kind of strength is rare and exhausting if misunderstood, yet it builds something lasting. Financially, humility shows up as restraint. You don't need to impress when you don't overspend to feel valuable. You choose sustainability over status. That decision may look small, but it protects your future. Here is the internal tension you may feel if I keep serving. Will I ever be seen? Jesus answered that without words. He washed feet knowing some would betray him, deny him, abandon him. He did not serve because of their response. He served because of who he was. Authority that kneels is not trying to earn position. It already knows its place. This section is important because many chosen ones stall here. Pride wants to rise too early. Ego wants recognition before readiness. But premature elevation collapses character. God often hides authority inside humility to protect it until the right time. You are not being asked to shrink. You are being asked to deepen. Think about a moment recently when you had the right to assert yourself but chose patience. Or when you could have highlighted someone else's failure but chose discretion. Or when you served without acknowledgement and felt a quiet peace afterward. Those moments are not losses, they are training. They are. Let me ask you directly, where has God been asking you to kneel? Not to diminish you, but to anchor you. Here is the hope: humility does not delay authority. It stabilizes it. People who kneel before they rise don't fall when they're elevated. They remember where strength truly comes from. This is also where influence becomes clean. When you no longer need to prove yourself, your words carry more weight. When you stop demanding respect, respect begins to follow naturally. When your identity is secure, service becomes powerful instead of draining. You may notice a shift soon. People trusting you with more. Conversations opening, opportunities coming without you chasing them. That is not coincidence. That is authority emerging from humility. And now, one simple act of alignment, nothing dramatic. Comment the number 12 below. Not as a signal to others, but as a reminder to yourself. 12 represents order, foundation, and preparation. It marks a decision to lead without ego, to serve without shrinking, to trust that God sees what others may overlook. You are not behind. You are being formed, and authority that kneels will soon stand unshaken. 12 is not just a number you type. It is a pattern God uses when He is building something that must last. 12 tribes formed a nation. 12 stones marked remembrance. 12 disciples carried a message that changed the world. When you choose 12, you are choosing structure over chaos, purpose over impulse. In your daily life, 12 looks like order returning where things felt scattered. Your time becomes intentional. Your priorities settle. You stop reacting to everything and begin responding with clarity. This number signals that your life is being aligned into something stable, not rushed, not fragile. 12 also speaks of preparation before visibility. Jesus did not release the 12 immediately. He formed them first. In the same way, your quiet seasons are not delays. They are classrooms. What feels repetitive now is actually reinforcing the foundation you will later stand on. So when you mark 12, you are agreeing with this process. You are saying yes to formation, yes to discipline, yes to becoming someone who can carry responsibility without losing humility. This is how authority matures slowly, deeply, and without cracks. There comes a stage in your journey where noise fades. Not because life becomes empty, but because God is narrowing your focus. This is the season many misunderstand. It feels like loss, but it is actually separation. And separation is never punishment, it is preparation. You may have noticed it already. Fewer invitations, fewer conversations that feel nourishing. A shrinking circle. People who once felt close now feel distant, not through conflict, but through quiet divergence. Your interests have shifted. Your tolerance for superficiality has decreased. What once entertained you now feels draining. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Before elevation, God simplifies. In everyday life, this often begins subtly. You stop forcing friendships that require you to edit yourself. You no longer feel the need to explain your values in environments committed to misunderstanding them. You choose rest over constant availability. At first, this feels lonely. But loneliness and isolation are not the same. Isolation drains you, solitude restores you. At work, separation may look like being pulled away from familiar teams or routines. A role changes, a project ends, a door closes without explanation. You may feel overlooked or shelved, but often, God removes you from environments that can no longer stretch you, even if they once sustained you. Comfort can quietly become a ceiling. Financially, this season may require restraint. You say no to opportunities that promise quick gain but cost long-term peace. You become more intentional, less impulsive. This may slow visible progress, but it strengthens internal stability. God often reduces pace before increasing capacity. In family dynamics, separation can be the most painful. You love deeply, but you can no longer participate in patterns that harm you or others. You change how you show up. You stop rescuing. You stop absorbing emotional chaos. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop bleeding. Here is where doubt tries to creep in. You begin to wonder if you did something wrong, if obedience somehow led you backward, if the quiet means you missed your moment. But Scripture gives clarity here. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 19. If you separate the precious from the vile, you shall be as my mouth. Separation is how God clarifies purpose. He distinguishes what is essential from what is excessive, what sharpens from what distracts, what carries life from what merely consumes time. Elevation without separation creates collapse. Visibility without refinement breeds compromise. God cares too much about what He placed in you to expose it too early. This is why the pruning feels personal. God is not removing random things. He is removing what competes with your calling. Some relationships were seasonal. Some habits were transitional. Some ambitions were immature. Letting them go hurts, not because they were evil, but because they were familiar. In this season, silence becomes a teacher. You begin to hear your own thoughts clearly. Prayer deepens, not in length, but in honesty. You stop performing spiritually and start listening. The questions you ask God change. Less when more. Who am I becoming? This is also where self-trust is rebuilt. Without constant feedback from others, you learn to discern internally. You become less reactive, more reflective. Decisions take longer, but they land deeper. That depth is necessary for what comes next. Let me ask you directly, what has God been quietly removing that you've been trying to hold on to out of fear of emptiness? Here is the hope you need to hear. Emptiness is not the goal. Space is. Space for clarity, space for strength. Space for God to speak without competition. What feels like subtraction is actually room making. Think of a seed underground, covered, pressed, alone. That season is not abandonment, it is activation. Roots form before anything breaks the surface. And roots are built in darkness. Soon you will notice signs of readiness. Peace where there was anxiety. Confidence without arrogance. Direction without hurry. When opportunities return, and they will, you will engage them differently. You won't grasp. You won't rush. You'll recognize what fits. Separation trains discernment. Elevation requires it. You are not being hidden because you are unqualified. You are being hidden because what you carry is valuable, and valuable things are protected until the right moment. This season will not last forever, but it must be honored while it lasts. Because when elevation comes, there is rarely time to prepare. Preparation happens now, in the quiet, and you are doing better than you think. What feels like stillness is actually consolidation. God is gathering your strength inward, teaching you how to move without noise. This is where confidence becomes quiet and durable, no longer dependent on affirmation or reaction from others. You will notice your responses changing. Less explanation, fewer justifications, more calm. This is not withdrawal, it is composure. You are learning how to carry yourself with gravity, the kind that doesn't demand attention but naturally commands respect. Soon, re-entry will come, not rushed, not forced. You will step back into visible spaces with a different posture. What once drained you will no longer have access to your peace. You will know what to accept and what to leave untouched. Remember, this separation was never about losing people or opportunities. It was about gaining clarity. And clarity is what allows you to stand firmly when elevation arrives, without losing who you are or why you were chosen. This is the hour you were being prepared for, even when you didn't know preparation was happening. Looking back, the path now makes sense. The interruptions, the delays, the quiet seasons, the moments where nothing moved except something inside you. You are standing at a threshold where identity settles and direction stabilizes, not because everything is perfect, but because you are anchored. Crowning does not arrive with noise, it arrives with responsibility. Many imagine elevation as applause, visibility, sudden favor. But true elevation feels different. It feels heavier at first, not burdensome, weighty. You become more intentional with words, more selective with energy, less impressed by urgency, You stop asking, how fast can this happen, and start asking, how true can this remain? This is the mark of someone who has been trusted. In everyday life, this shows up quietly. At work, you notice people seeking your input even when they outrank you, not because you demand authority, but because your presence carries calm. You don't escalate situations, you stabilize them. In finances, you move with foresight instead of impulse. You're no longer chasing relief, you're building resilience. In family and relationships, you stop trying to be understood by everyone. You choose honesty over harmony, peace over approval. You are no longer auditioning for belonging. You are standing in assignment. There is a crown mentioned often in Scripture, but it is not made of gold. It is made of endurance, obedience, and faithfulness in unseen places. This crown does not sit lightly. It rests on those who have learned to bow without breaking and stand without pride. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." Notice what qualifies someone for this crown longing. Not perfection, not achievement. Longing for what is true, even when it costs comfort. You have carried that longing. It kept you from settling. It pulled you through seasons where quitting would have been easier. It refined your taste for what lasts. This crown does not isolate you, it positions you to serve more clearly. You will still kneel when needed. You will still listen deeply. But you will no longer abandon yourself to be accepted. That chapter is closing. Now comes integration. Everything you learned about boundaries, humility, separation, clarity comes together here. You don't discard those lessons when elevation arrives. You carry them forward. That is how authority stays clean. Let me ask you directly, one final time. Who are you becoming now that survival is no longer your primary focus? This is where hope sharpens into vision. You may sense it already. A clearer sense of direction, a willingness to wait without anxiety, a courage to move without permission. These are not emotional highs. They are signs of maturity. And here is the quiet truth: what you carry next is not just for you. Your steadiness will calm others. Your discernment will protect more than your own life. Your obedience will create pathways others didn't know existed. This is how chosen ones serve, not from superiority, but from stewardship. As this journey comes to a close, imagine it like reaching a mountain overlook at dawn. You don't shout, you don't rush, you simply take in the view, grateful you didn't turn back when the climb was steep. If this message has walked with you to that place, you may choose to leave a small marker to like it the way one leaves a stone on a trail, a quiet sign that the path mattered. And if you know someone still climbing, still questioning, still carrying weight without words, you might share the map, not insisting they follow, but offering it gently, trusting they'll know when to use it. If you feel drawn to continue this kind of journey steady, reflective, anchored, you may also subscribe like one chooses to keep a compass, not because you're lost, but because direction is precious. You may even choose to leave a brief comment below, not to explain yourself, but to witness the moment, marking that something inside you settled today. None of this is obligation, it is resonance, and resonance is always voluntary. You are crowned not for spectacle, but for service, not for haste, but for endurance, not for applause, but for impact. Walk forward now, carry what you've been given, and let your life speak. You will carry this season with you long after the words fade, not as memory, but as posture. You will walk differently, less hurried, more certain, The need to prove will loosen its grip, replaced by a quiet confidence that does not announce itself. When challenges return, and they will, you will meet them without panic. You will remember what it took to get here. The waiting, the pruning, the choosing. That memory will steady you when pressure tries to rush your decisions again. Others may not see what changed, but they will feel it. Conversations will slow. Trust will form more easily. Your presence will feel grounded, like something settled into its proper place. This is the after effect of obedience lived over time. Let this be enough. You do not need to rush ahead. Walk forward with care. What has been entrusted to you will unfold as you move step by step, season by season, guided not by urgency, but by wisdom that has finally taken root. You don't have to decide anything right now. An open ending does not demand action. It invites reflection. Some words are meant to be carried, not reacted to. Let them sit with you as you move back into your day, into your routines, into the places where real life continues quietly. If something in this message was useful, you may choose to pass it on not as a statement, not as a declaration, but as a gift, like offering a glass of water to someone who might be tired, without asking them to explain their thirst. Sharing, when it is done gently, is never pressure. It is simply care extended outward. And if you feel that this message was not for you, that is also allowed. Not every seed is meant for every season. In that case, don't discard everything. Keep the one line, the one image, the one sentence that paused you for a moment. Often, that is the part meant to stay. You don't need the whole road, just enough light for your next step. There is no requirement to respond publicly. Some of the most important agreements happen privately, in the quiet space where you decide how you will live differently tomorrow. Insight does not need witnesses to be real. You are free to close this and move on. You are also free to linger. Both are signs of agency. Both are respected here. What matters is not what you do with these words online, but what you do with them internally. Whether they remind you to slow down, to choose wisely, to stay grounded, to trust what has been forming beneath the surface. Leave with what fit, release what doesn't. Carry forward only what brings clarity. And wherever you go next, may you walk steadily, not rushed, not pressured, but attentive to what matters most.